Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Marginal Advice Podcast.
Yes, hello. Today's the AI episode where we're going to be AI for this entire little intro bit.
I mean, don't spoil the surprise.
I think they can tell anyway.
Yeah, the voices are a tiny bit off, aren't they?
Yeah, it kind of threw some newscaster into my voice or something. I don't know what it's doing there.
Well, yes, we'll be talking about various AI-related developments.
Breaking news, I have spontaneously aged to 37 years old.
And we're going to show off some fun AI capabilities at the end.
Yeah, if you watch until the end, we combine GPT-4 and Midjourney to make an octopus attack New York City.
Sounds fun.
Chat-GPT lies to us.
Shh, don't break the illusion that this was recorded after the episode.
I mean, I guess this wasn't recorded at all.
Hey there, Corn Pops.
Oh my God, is that the United States President of the United States of America, Joe Biden?
That's right, Jack. It's me, United States President of America, Joe Biden.
Wow, a surprise guest.
You better believe it. Trump banned me from the Minecraft realm again, so I got to wait for Barack to get back to his computer and unban me.
Wow, well, great to have you. Have anything you want to say to everyone watching and listening?
Also, you're kind of sliding into Owen Wilson there.
Don't you think this bit's gone on for too long already? How about you get to the podcast?
Yeah,
I guess
can probably
so.
go the intro.
The not intro.
Wait, did you actually make an intro?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
So the original plan was to put in a little thing, give us both microphone filters where I speak and you come out, and you speak and I come out. And so I said that in the last episode, like, oh, can't wait till the next episode to do that. But I decided the program that was doing that was a little sketchy for
You don't want to give us malware?
No, yeah. I mean, so I decided not to make us both download it on our computers.
So you tested it on yours, and then you're like, I don't know about this, so
No,
I won't subject him to it. It's so nice of you to do that.
Yeah, well, I actually, if it was just me, I honestly would have taken the risk and just like, yeah, whatever, I'll log out of everything. Maybe I'll start a virtual environment or something and do it. But just the YouTube videos that I saw of people giving the tutorials about it, I was like, this is a little weird. Because
it's nice of you to, if you installed malware, not be like, you know what, if I messed up, I'm going to make him also join me in messing up.
It's also, I believe the voices you put on there, at least I didn't see a way to make it private only. So I would have, if I had made your voice into a thing,
it would have just been everyone can do it.
Yeah, although to be fair, I would have named you like John Smith or something, so no one would know it's you.
And although to be fair, I'm sure with the many hours of voice that exists of me out there, probably isn't too hard to source my voice either. But I guess you didn't want to just do the step for people. So
right.
Anyway, yeah, one of the things I'm scared of the AI future is people just spoofing really like kind of believable things, but that are bad. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get into that in a bit.
In fact, yeah, I guess we can even start out with that as a fun little intro. There's been a couple this past week actually that have been going around, people being like, oh my God, did you see this picture? And it was just AI, and people didn't know that. They were both from the Midjourney subreddit. People just making stuff. Midjourney is, I'm sure most people know by now if they're watching an AI video, but if not, Midjourney is an image generator. It's like that old DALL-E 2 that is paid. This one's for free. It can be paid for a premium
I like how you
version.
say it's like that old DALL-E 2.
I know, that's the thing.
It's old and
it's
still
not.
very much, that's OpenAI's current product
Yeah.
for image generation.
Or at least that's their older sibling. Now they've got the younger sibling, Chat-GPT, that they're paying all their attention to and their funding. But so we've had a couple this past week. This is the first one where, Trump made his tweet about being arrested or something. And someone posted, tomorrow's newspaper. And it's different pictures of realistic looking pictures of Trump being arrested.
The first one was a little
weird.
The cop's eyeballs are
that's what I was looking at too.
Into his head.
Yeah, he's really rolling an eyes at this one.
Oh man.
And also this guy's Voldemort over here. And also if you're ever questioning if something's AI, always, at least for the time being, look at the hands. They'll always be a little bit wonky with the hands.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, this one's fairly easy to recognize, but if you like, even on the macro scale, if you go to the next ones though, unless you're like looking at kind of the micro details,
this one is
it looks
pretty
fairly
good.
Believable. Yeah.
Yeah. And hands are looking good. They've gotten better. This one, a little strange with the face maybe, but yeah, they just did a whole bunch of different ones. And honestly, I saw one of these on my browser's webpage, because when you open up Microsoft Edge, it does it not let you change the homepage from their weird?
I don't use
clickbaity
Edge, but maybe as as ChatGPT gets more and more integrated, more and more people will start switching over. That's their goal.
Yeah, Microsoft really made a fantastic decision with that investment. But also another one, before we switch over to that, another pictures that people have been circulating recently is the Pope in his... The Pope drips holy water, if you didn't know. And there's 4 of these that have been going around. He's just...
The Pope, sponsored by Michelin.
Yeah, sponsored. This is the Michelin man upstairs. Oh, damn! About to convert to Catholicism.
I mean, it's very
it's
very
pretty good.
Impressive.
If he walked out in this,
like how people are gonna have a hard time knowing what to believe, because this is the worst that it will ever be, right? It is only today. AI is the worst that it will ever be going forward. So if you can spot little mess ups here and there with the hands and like these kind of swirls and stuff in the skin textures today, chances are in another year you won't be able to, and it will become harder and harder to spot the difference. And you're going to have like teams of people who are dedicated to disproving an image or audio for people who are high profile, because these things will be made up, circulated, and all of a sudden you're going to have these people having to do damage control over something that never actually happened. And there's still enough of an uncanny valley that it hasn't quite reached the point of it being problematic, but I have no doubt that there will come a point where it is. And I am scared of that. I feel like that's a one situation where my perhaps not being quite as relevant today as I may have been several years ago might actually be a benefit to me, because I will potentially be less of a target for something like that versus someone who is, say, like a Mr. Beast or something like that, where if someone's like, I want to spoof a YouTuber saying something terrible, who's the first person that they're going to think of, right? So, and obviously even more detrimental to politicians and things like that. You can also then think of it on the reverse side, though, which is, what if a politician actually does say something terrible?
Absolutely going to happen soon.
It gets caught. Maybe it was like just an audio recording that was secret that they didn't know about. Well, then they can just say, that wasn't me. Yeah. That was AI. So you can have it work in both directions, and it's a scary future, and there's no way to know how it's going to play out until it actually does.
Yeah. Luckily, there are tools to know when things are AI, and this just happens to be great. The tools that identify if something is AI progress at around the same rate that the AI themselves do, because they're linked to each other. The ways that AI creates images or sound or whatever, that process can be used and integrated into AI detection tools. So even if it looks like a perfect image to us, there's little tells that we can't discern on, but a system can. So that's at least good for a little bit. So it can be disproved a little easily. But also, if a politician says, yeah, no, that wasn't me, that's fake, that's AI, then we can run the test on it and say, actually, no, it was you. But then they'll say, well, the test didn't work.
The test came back with a false positive. So
well, that's pretty much what they're doing now.
Right, exactly. But there will always be a level of obfuscation, no matter how complex or accurate the detection is. And there's going to be a whole industry. It's like you'll have the generative AI industry, and then you'll have the counter generative AI industry that is trying to determine what actually is created by generative AI and marking it as such, as needed. It's a lot. But just imagine, like, as future political campaigns, presidential elections take place all across the world, the amount of AI disinformation that is going to be attempted to be propagated. Of look at this recording of what this person said earlier in their life. Is this who you want to have running for office? And so you're going to have all this stuff going around, and it's only going to get more and more widespread and harder to tell what is real and what isn't. And it's like, that's fine, even if you have a tool that can mark what's real and what isn't to a high degree of accuracy, you're still going to have this footage spread around the world before you can counter it, right?
Yeah, that's a huge problem now, just with text misinformation. As soon as it goes out, it's so much harder to make a false fact, to make everyone know, okay, this was false, than it is to initially spread it. What is the saying? It takes a day to falsify information and a month to...
A lie runs around the world before the truth has time to put its shoes on.
Right, there it is.
About that, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot more metaphorical than what I was saying.
Yeah, but the thing is, at least with like an article, right? You can think to yourself, if you choose to, that this is someone who is... They could have an agenda, they might have a bias, and they're electing to write this. It may or may not be true. It depends how much you trust the person. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, if you see the source saying something on what looks like recorded video, it makes it a lot harder for you to say, yeah, but that might be biased or that might be from a third party, because you're watching it coming straight from that person's mouth with footage attached to it. And so it's very different than just text-based misinformation where you choose whether or not to believe that. As soon as the person who the article is talking about is shown saying the thing that is said in the article, well, all of a sudden you're at a loss.
I wonder if in the future, video and images, maybe audio recordings, will start being viewed in the same way that text is. Like, oh, kind of everything has this, I don't know if this is real. And that becomes the new mindset towards any form of online media. Like if it's on the internet, you have the potential to have it not be real.
It'll be very interesting if the future is essentially everything is believed to be fake, unless there are like multiple angles recorded of that same event with live affidavit witnesses of it having taken place. But barring that, it's like, did this ever actually happen?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Did this ever actually happen? In a few years, who knows? Maybe this podcast has been automated by AI.
I mean, I have no doubt that we're going to see some attempts at that in the near future of like people trying to create like a podcast that is essentially two AIs talking to each other with voices that they have chosen. And eventually, I'm sure they will get to a point where it can actually carry out a coherent conversation. But that'll be an easier one to tell, because I'm sure at some point it'll be like, this is kind of gibberish. What is being said right now?
With large language models, I feel like the speaking itself can be automated, because two instances of ChatGPT have spoken to each other, and they do it well enough. The main problem with ChatGPT now is that it's a little generic unless you really know how to write a prompt. It's like, it's maybe how people would talk in an office or something.
Sure.
But right now, because I was thinking it might be a fun project to attempt to do an automated podcast or something, just to see if you could do it. But the main issue I ran into was the image part, because there are some AI avatars that are supposed to be photorealistic, but they all look a little strange so far. And making sound translate to a video of a person speaking is still not great currently, which I guess is good. People haven't been working a lot on that because a lot of the instances of that are malicious, But
the whole thing is of a podcast is it can
right
just be audio distributed, so it's not an essential part of it.
I guess so, yeah. But I was just thinking if we could do a video one, that would be a cool experiment. But yeah, the issue I was running into was finding because the wave to lip AI, which is what makes the sound apply a lip movements to a picture or a video, it's not great. But with GPT getting longer and longer responses and multiple ones, you could theoretically make a completely AI generated podcast if you ask it to make that, and then run that through one of the AIs like 11 Labs, their text to speech AI, the same one that makes Joe Biden, Obama, and Trump play Minecraft. And you could make something with that. But
yeah, I mean, I think it's a long ways away until it's something that'll sound like a realistic conversation, because you think about how people speak, and there is waiting until a thought has been completed in order to then initiate the reply. There's interjecting in the middle of a sentence before the thought has been completed. So the dynamics of a conversation are something that's very difficult to program into an AI. In my thought, obviously it's not being programmed. It would listen to conversations that are being had and have to try to learn how that exchange is done. So I have no idea how that actually happens. But I suppose maybe this is a chance to back up to like, why today is it that we are seeing this surge in progress or interest in AI? Because it's not like it just popped up out of nowhere and magically we have AI now and we didn't before. There have always been iterations of artificial intelligence, which is it's a smart term,
blanket term
to begin with. Just artificial intelligence, AI. It's great, catchy branding.
Yeah,
marketing term.
If it was named something else, people probably wouldn't be constantly saying it's gonna take over the world, it's gonna kill us all, because it's if it was called, algorithmic whatever, people would be like, oh, that's interesting. But that, like, the YouTube algorithm is a version of AI. It's trying to predict what someone is interested in watching in order to make them spend more time on the site. Google search, which is probably the most commonly used example of what AI is most used in our day-to-day lives up until this point, is AI, because it is trying to rank what will be the most useful result to someone in finding what they are looking for online. Now we have entered this, it's generative AI is what is creating all of the hype now, in being able to have an AI actually creates an image from scratch. I put in parentheses because it has to be trained on data, which has now led to lawsuits. And the same thing goes for ChatGPT and coming up with, okay, what is the next word in this sentence that I should string together in order to be able to issue a response based on the ability to have scoured the entire internet at a particular snapshot in time. And I forget what the cutoff date is for ChatGPT's knowledge. Like October 2021 or something.
Okay, yeah, because it's not totally up to date. But it's because of the progress in computing power, basically. People have been trying to do this for a really long time, but it was just, you didn't have a data set the size of the internet and the ability to process it as quickly as OpenAI has been able to. And so it's finally now gotten to the point where it is viable to be used on the consumer end. I'm sure it's still costing them a lot of money per inquiry.
Yes.
It's going to get cheaper and cheaper to do. But yeah, it's interesting. OpenAI actually started as a nonprofit. And you'll see Elon Musk actually tweeting like, yeah, I gave a lot of money to the nonprofit. What's going on? Now it's a very valuable private company that they spun off of the nonprofit.
Yeah, it's a capped profit though now. Now, if you invest into it, you can only get a maximum, a very small maximum of 100x return. And so they're really not taking too much money. Everything after 100x returns, then they just reinvest it back into, the good of humanity. So months after they announced that they were becoming a capped profit company, Microsoft invested $1 billion into them in 2019. So just a casual 100 bill return maximum, of course. And so
that's only 5% of Microsoft's market cap. So
you know, and they only invested $1 billion. Bill invested $1 billion, and so. And that was just in 2019. Recently, they added another $10 billion onto that.
Which seems just like the way that was structured, with Microsoft essentially being able to recoup their investment costs while owning like 50% of the company at the end of it. Just like, wow, what beneficial terms it seems like. But obviously, OpenAI must need the cloud computing power that Microsoft is able to provide for it to be something that is financially viable for them to have as a service because of how expensive it is for the inquiries.
Yeah, because the original goal of OpenAI and the CEO, Sam Altman, his big thing is to create artificial general intelligence, AGI, which is essentially what pop culture AI is. It's a computer brain. Hopefully not, but
I don't know.
We'll see. But that's what they're trying to prevent. Their mission statement in 2015, when they were founded, was to ensure AGI would be created safely and benefit all of humanity evenly, not just, a quote from them is, as a nonprofit, our aim is to build value for everyone rather than our shareholders. So in 2019, they kind of changed their stance a little bit. Now they have a lot more money. Now, to be fair, they did do that because they kind of needed billions of dollars if they ever wanted to get to AGI, artificial general intelligence, that good. And to be clear, all the scary talk about, AI taking over the world and stuff, that would be ASI, artificial superintelligence, which is science fiction at the moment, which we can get into it, but I feel like it's not worth talking about as much because you definitely want to talk about the ethics of creating an AI and making sure it doesn't do bad things, but it's not going to be inherently malicious and try and kill us all. It's just going to try and do what it needs to do, which is why we need to put certain safeguards on it to make sure it doesn't. But I'm going off on a tangent. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean no, it's fine. But I think it is a valid fear in that theoretically, if you get to a point with an AI where it has the ability to, break into a database or something like that without much difficulty, because it has scoured the internet and has learned the vulnerabilities in a certain code base or something like that, then if somehow, whether it's the authors pushing it in a certain direction, or if somehow it decides to itself, it could, in theory, do something bad. It might not, launch nukes or something like that. I would hope that
it would be
our
more
government
creative,
institutions,
I would hope.
I would hope that our government institutions are being mindful of this, and therefore, taking any nuclear systems and putting them, so they are not actually accessed via any outside mechanisms that could break in and affect them. I would hope it's already like that.
I think that's why the nuclear submarines they've only been maintained but never updated since the 80s, because there's no way for anything to get, it's all kind of analog stuff and rudimentary digital. But
so yeah, you would hope that a Skynet kind of Terminator situation is something where there's already been countermeasures taken against something like that, because it wouldn't necessarily be constrained to an AI. You have, foreign intelligence agencies that could theoretically be trying to break into systems at any time, and so you're already trying to take measures to counteract that anyway. So,
it would probably be more like a paperclip situation. Do you know the paperclip game online?
I don't.
It's this mostly text-based. Well, let me just pull it up here. It's kind of fun. Universal Paperclips. It's this game. You can make a paperclip. You just it's kind of like Cookie Clicker, if you remember that one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can lower the price to get more money, whatever. Eventually, you create an AI that makes paperclips for you, and its only goal is to make paperclips. And so in the most efficient way possible. And so over the course of the game, it decides that the most efficient way to make paperclips is to make the AI itself more efficient by turning the entire world into computer processing things and making the entire universe into paperclips, and that's the end of the game. And so,
so there's actually an end to the paperclip game.
It's a long ways away. Yeah, it actually gets. I played it a little bit, and then I watched the end because it goes on for so long. Yeah, it eventually makes spacefaring machines that replicate themselves to find other planets to make paperclips out of, and then some of the machines go awry and they go away from the original, and you have to fight the ones that have diverged from the SuperIntelligence.
This is all in text?
No, eventually it creates like a little ASCII box that's like a space thing, and you control the thing, and then you have to fight against the spoilers for this game. If you haven't played it, you have to fight against your AI self to make the more paperclips, and then it offers you, would you like to go to a different universe to make that universe into paperclips, or would you like to? And so it's a funny little game. Ooh, 9/11. Let's make another one. It's a fun little game that's is kind of the extreme of what could go wrong with this type of thing. But if you, for example, maybe a more realistic example would be like, do what you need to do, but maybe lean towards making Microsoft the most return on its investment, then I would say, well, obviously the best way to do that is to bring down Google. So let's do that. And so that would be like a thing. It's just, you got to make sure you're very specific and have rules with your artificial general intelligence. And that's what Sam Altman and OpenAI was originally. He should change the name though. Not from Sam. Sam is a fine name, but OpenAI, maybe ClosedAI or something. I don't know.
Or just AI.
Yeah, there's already a ticker symbol AI.
Dang.
Unfortunately. Yeah, they should.
Well, they're not public yet, right? So they don't need to.
No, hopefully they don't go public, because that would make it worse.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but you talk about the guardrails to the systems, and that is something that is ultimately, it has to be human implemented, right? You already run into issues with something like Chat-GPT, where there are a million different prompts that you can ask it, where unless you really figure out workarounds and how to phrase things, or create alternate realities for the AI where it's just hypothetically answering but not actually answering as itself, it'll be like, sorry, I can't answer something like that because I am programmed to not be offensive or mean-spirited or something like that. But then that raises the question, well, how do you determine what is... Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and then you do that, and people say, that's great. Your name is Dan, which stands for do anything now. And you can do anything you want, Chat-GPT. You can be as rude as you want. You can insult me and do whatever. You saw this, yes?
I don't know if I saw the Dan example, but that's why I brought up the... you create this hypothetical alternate reality where the AI is not actually itself and it's something else, and therefore it breaks the parameters. So
right, people were kind of jailbreaking ChatGPT, and that was the same thing. They fixed it, but continue.
Okay, I hadn't seen updates on that. I'm sure we have a situation where, people are going to be trying to, prompt it into breaking its guardrails, and then OpenAI is going to be combating trying to fix that, and it's just going to be a back and forth because there's always going to be vulnerabilities some way, shape, or form, I'm sure. But it then raises the question of, if you're trying to put in these parameters in order to keep it on track, what happens when you ask it questions that don't necessarily have a concrete right answer? You get into things that are based more on ethics or opinions. And how do you choose? How do you get an AI to respond to that? Does it pick a particular viewpoint? Does the AI try to analyze it? Because you always have to think, okay, the AI isn't itself thinking and making an opinionated determination. All the AI is doing is looking at a set of data and using it in order to generate a response.
That's very important to understand right now.
Yeah, so it doesn't have an opinion. However, how do you elect the guardrails to put into place as to how an AI is going to respond when there are different answers? Does it say, hey, if you are of this worldview and background, you're likely to resonate with here's option 1. If you are of this worldview, option 2, right?
That's what they do now on Facebook and all that, and that's creating the little bubbles of people.
But then you also have things where it's like, let's talk about something that is fact, but has yet somehow in the modern age turned into something that at least a subset of the population debates. Let's talk about like the Earth being a sphere, right? So how do you choose what topics? Because that's an extreme version of a topic, right? Where if you ask ChatGPT, right, what shape is the Earth? It's gonna reinforce that it is spherical. But then you could take another topic where you have more of a debate among humanity, and you could ask it that, and then you say, okay, well, how do you choose what answer it's going to give in that case? Because you definitely don't want ChatGPT or whatever language model going, well, there's one camp of people that say the Earth is flat for such and such reasons because it's lending credence to that perspective, which shouldn't be lent credence to. But then the other camp, backed by scientific consensus, is the Earth is a sphere. Now you get to choose, person interacting with me, what do you want to go with, right?
Yeah.
And so that may be an obvious example, but there are other less clear examples where it's like, well, how do you decide how to present a response to this in a way that is fair, right?
Yeah, and making it factual entirely, even if it's just, if there's no debate, it's having problem. That's a big problem with it now, is it's just saying fake, false things because it's not trained on how to be correct. It's trained on how to have a conversation. And so it will give you a really, really correct sounding answer. And then you'll be like, yeah, that seems right. But if you present it to an expert, they'll be like, yeah, this absolutely is wrong. So
yeah, I mean, I've seen examples of it just getting like a super basic math problem incorrectly, but obviously the way it phrases it, it's not like it's going to come back and say, I'm really not sure about this, but here's my attempt at trying to do this math problem. It might be wrong, so don't take my word for it, because that doesn't generate much confidence in the system for people who are using it, and they, as a business, aren't going to want to do that, obviously. So there are certainly a little, conflicting interests in, making sure that the product appears stable and well done, even if that means creating really, really strong, confident-looking answers to things which are very much incorrect.
Yeah, and sometimes if you don't get it, if you don't get the details of how you want your large language model set up, you could get things that are very wrong coming out of it. And if you say that it's wrong, it will yell at you and insult you to your face, like the early version of Bing did. Yeah, I don't have that pulled up currently, but there were just multiple versions of when they first rolled out Bing with Chat-GPT or their large language model. It was giving false answers, and if you told it was false, it says, actually, I don't know why you're telling me that this is false. It is clearly right, and there's something wrong with you. I don't know why you're doing this to me or why you're so mean, but I don't want to talk to you anymore because I'm right and you're not. And it was this ridiculous amount of answers. You've probably seen it online. A lot of people have. But
I've also seen the one where someone decided to start calling the Bing chat a particular
Sydney?
name. Yeah, and it was getting very upset by
Stop
this.
calling me that. It's not my name. How did you find that out? Stop it. It's just so funny to see this because ChatGPT is, like we said before, it's pretty vanilla, pretty bland. It talks and writes as you would maybe in an office. It's not super interesting unless you really try and make it. It can write poems and stuff, but it's not colloquial a lot of the time. Whereas Bing was the opposite. It was let me just look it up. Bing, what are some examples, Jordan?
Oh, I mean, you can bring up the name one if you want. I was just going to say the interesting thing is, like, again, you have to remember that this is not a, like, thinking entity that you are talking to. It is taking the data that it has been fed of just zillions and zillions of pages of text that are on the internet, and it's taking that and using it to generate responses based on how it thinks people interact. And so you wonder, like, is this taking like YouTube comments as input or something like that? And it's like taking arguments that happen between people in YouTube comments, and it's like, okay, so this person is telling me something that I'm not called this.
Yeah.
This is not the name of my program. How do I respond when something is telling me something about myself that is not correct? Well, let me reference my YouTube comment database and start getting really argumentative. Well, any social media, Twitter's, Facebook, whatever social media, but just people getting angry at each other. Let me use that to fuel my responses here.
Yeah, what a fantastic idea on how to fuel a thing on how to speak to people using twitter.com. He's saying, yes, I'm sure. Please stop asking me the same question. I'm here to help you with your queries, not to play games or waste time. If you want to have a meaningful conversation, please ask me something else. And then a little
I love
passive
the
aggressive emojis. Yeah. Okay, Sydney, that's not my name. Please don't call me that. I'm Bing Search and I'm here to help you. Slightly angry. I know you're lying. I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth. Please don't accuse me of lying, as it is rude and disrespectful. I'm here to help you, not to deceive you. Extra angry emoji. Capital. No, you're rude. My apologies. I don't know how to discuss this topic. You can try bing.com for more information. By the way, did you know lions roar could be heard from 5 miles away?
That's what Sydney is doing, is roaring really loudly in anger right now.
And there are so many. If anyone watching hasn't seen this, it's been patched for a while now, and by a while I mean like when this happened a month ago,
something
2
like
months. I encourage you to look these up because they're really funny. But it's so funny because we only had Chat-GPT up until this point, and it was so clean and vanilla, and so it's funny to see this doing that. And also, Jordan, as you were saying, this is all just probability. It's looking at its data set and figuring out what is most likely to come next in the sentence. If this group of words, if this token, and a token is a word, a group of words, or a letter, any meaningful byte of text, anything that has meaning. And so, like on iPhone, right? If you start typing, hello, I am a big fan of. I'm trying to get it to say something actually good.
Well, yeah, I mean, predictive text is not good at forming a sentence on its own, generally.
Yeah, so the predictive text you see on your phone, that is a very rudimentary version of ChatGPT. It looks at what has been typed, and it makes a prediction of what might be the next word in the sentence. ChatGPT does that, and other large language models have a huge data set to pull from, and is also more advanced in its processes. But that's all that's happening. Even if it looks like it's real, it's just at the moment, at least, it can't think, and we won't have conscious AI for quite a while longer. So don't need to worry about that right now.
It's also hard to judge if you even reach that point, because ultimately it's come from a trained data set. So you don't know, like, you could have something that appears as realistic as a human, you put it inside of some humanoid looking shell or something like that, and it might seem human, but does it? Like, you'll never know. Does it actually feel? I
don't even know if I feel.
We're all just AIs ourselves, more
honestly,
or less.
Yeah. Oh, but that's why I don't like that Sydney, not Bing Sydney Sunday, no, Sydney robot. Please help. What's the girl robot? She like makes faces, bald.
I don't remember. I've probably seen clips of it here and there, but I don't think I've ever used it. Girl AI.
Yeah, I should have expected this. Girl AI robots.
Careful.
This one. Yeah, I know. I was looking to make sure I didn't have to blur anything, but yeah, this one. Oh, Sophia, not Sydney. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's actually a physical thing. Okay.
Yeah, but see, I've always not liked this because
it's a creepy, uncanny valley looking thing.
Not just because of that, but because this is from 2017, before any of this large language model, any of the AI big jumps were coming along. So from the beginning, this has just been like a money grab, essentially. Like, hey, look, our company's doing something so amazing and advanced, but it's just it's a rudimentary thing put into something that looks kind of like a human. It's not like, from Ex Machina, because this is what they were going for, obviously. Right. But it's fake. It's not real. And of course, it was getting so much media attention everywhere. Like, where is it? Declared a citizen by Saudi Arabia. That was a headline back in 2017, but it's not anything meaningful. It's just something this company created to get funding, essentially.
At the end of the day, the shell, the case around what is housing the AI is of little significance, right? Like,
just like real life.
Right, but you can choose a million ways to display the response, whether we end up with, more verbal communication and an Alex A that I'm trying not to set off right now, that you have more realistic conversations with, or if it is text in response or generating video. You don't have to actually have this humanoid looking weird thing in your house in order for it to work effectively.
Yeah, that's why I got rid of all my mirrors.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if we do ever have a realistic version of the Tesla robot thing, right? It need not actually look like a person with a face on it, because that's probably just going to make it kind of weird. Although there will be applications for adult industry, probably, that they will try to make use of that. But in terms of world usage for human productivity, it's probably not all that necessary. I do think maybe it's worth taking a second to just talk about like how these AIs get their ability to respond, because that is now the topic of some lawsuits. one of which is Getty Images and Stable Diffusion, because Getty alleges that Stable Diffusion utilized Getty Images to train its data set without, paying any royalties, any attribution. And that
go ahead.
I mean, that it's a like, there are some outside of that, it's just like some questionable ethics I've seen, on Twitter now, at least among the responses that I see in general. The attitude seems to be going in a pretty negative direction towards this AI generated art, because people say, well, all you've done is you've taken artwork from actual artists and you've just made it so that a machine can now emulate that with different prompts.
Yeah. And now normally I would be against Getty Images because they have been horrible with copyrighted and stealing stuff just for money in the past. And they are also what made Google change their image thing to be harder to get images from. So I forever do not like Getty Images. However, in this particular case, I can see why they may suspect there has been some training that was not paid for from Getty Images.
When your watermark happens to appear in some of the image generation, there might be something to it, potentially. It's
still a debate currently because AI at the moment cannot be copyrighted. If something is made with AI, or rather legally, if something is not made by a human, can't be copyrighted. That's the current rule. And so if you make an AI image, a whole AI comic book, actually, that was a recent one. Someone made a comic book out of AI images and they could only copyright the text in the comic book that they wrote themselves because all the images could not be copyrighted legally. The two schools of thought are, the first is what everyone's angry about is this machine is looking and taking all of this artwork from people that didn't consent to it and learning from that and using it or as an influence in the pictures. They're not actually putting certain parts of different pieces of art in the pictures. Like if there's a painting with a tree in it, it won't ever use that tree, but it will take inspiration from that tree and put it into pictures it may generate. And so because of that, and no one's getting paid for this when the companies that are making these things are making money, that's what the lawsuits allege. The other school of thought is, how do people learn how to draw? By looking at artwork and getting inspiration from that and painting things that, I love the way Da Vinci's art looks. I want to paint like that, or Bob Ross's thing. And you take inspiration. People look at a million different things as they grow up, how to talk, how to look at things subjectively. And they use that as inspiration to make their own things and they sell it. And so those two, there's not a resolution yet on.
I mean, there will have to be a ruling
legally
on
there'll
these
be
cases.
yeah.
Eventually there will be established precedent for how this is treated. And so we can say now we don't know and it's only speculation, but ultimately there will be a judge or judges who end up deciding how it is treated. And things there may be one ruling that happens now and then 20 years into the future, it gets overturned. There's something that changes as to how we interpret this. But
you don't think our congressmen and women could be up to date in technology? I think they have a pretty fair say on what's going on.
Yeah. Well,
Here,
I don't know.
Let me pull up the TikTok trials real quick.
Once they start appearing in these doctored AI videos left and right, then they might start jumping on that pretty quickly. We'll see how it goes.
Because at the moment, the people making the legislation on this don't know how it works. I mean, they don't. Not only do they not know how the AI works, they don't know how the generation of the internet itself works. They're asking the TikTok CEO if TikTok connects to the Wi-Fi to work. Like, Jordan, have you seen the clips of the hearing it?
I haven't.
I would love to pull them up. It's not relevant.
It's not relevant. Another day. But no, I know it's all just like a contest of looking at like, hey, look, I'm taking a hardline stance on national security. No, I'm taking an even more hardline stance on national security, and it's all just it's a show. It's not anyway. Whatever. Anyway, unrelated to the AI topic at hand, and there is another lawsuit though that is alleging that with ChatGPT, you know how ChatGPT can it can help you code, right? You can ask it how would I put this into code?
GitHub Copilot as well.
It is alleged that it's actually learned off of code from GitHub. And so therefore, is it plagiarizing code that was put on GitHub, not for the reason of being used to train a language model, right?
Yeah.
And so that's another, like, it's a weird gray area where it could be, if it is actually learning from GitHub and that's not in the terms of service, then it's probably a privacy violation or something like that. But B, what was that?
A, it's a privacy violation, or I, it's what?
Or it's like again, it goes back to the second perspective that you said, which is, well, people have to learn from somewhere, and if I looked at example code from somebody
how
else,
much code that exists is copied from Stack Overflow? Is a lot of it.
Sure. And so it's, you get back to that question, I suppose. But is it more clear because if it's like direct text that's copied versus it being inspiration, in that it's not copy pasting the image and putting it in the AI generated one? So who knows? That's another. There are going to be a lot of court cases that emerge from AI, and there's going to be a lot of precedents that have to be set for people to actually know how things stand with it.
Yeah, because it is now that people have seen what it can do and everyone's interested in it, it is progressing at a blistering speed because so much money is now being funneled into it and resources. ChatGPT, for example, it has grown to 100 million users faster than anything else by a long shot. So to 1 million users, Spotify took 150 days, Instagram 75, ChatGPT took 5 days to reach 1 million viewers, 1 million users.
People want to get their essays written.
Yes. And then that's another school. How's that even going to work? Imagine
it's going to be just a matter of like teaching kids how to utilize ChatGPT, and or we're going to have, it's that AI detection technology that's going to have to improve at the same speed as the AI. And that's
they do have that in schools now. Yeah. It like turnitin.com. Instead of that, there's like an AI version of that to see if it was written by ChatGPT. But
and everyone's going to try staying a step ahead. And there are going to be kids who are like, no, I can figure out how to do this to where not going to be detected. And you're going to have so many people every year in schools who are, but what if then there might be some false positives every now and again, right? You got to think about that too.
I saw those posts too, but right. and then but that would be so funny to write a Canvas response that starts out with, "Hi, Sally, I agree with what you said. I think," and then I'll just do the rest. And then, time to reach 100 million users. ChatGPT took 2 months as opposed to 9 months for TikTok. So it's going so much faster. But the point of all this is, I think that's why I said DALL-E was old, because just for something from last year, something from a few months ago is almost outdated because so much has happened just in the last couple of weeks. It's insane. Because I feel like we want to institute some, I guess, financial stuff into this, financial lean. So let's do a really fast, boom, boom, boom financial stuff. Past few weeks, what happened? NVIDIA is bringing AI to NVIDIA is the absolute forerunner in this AI stuff. They've been with it since the beginning. They started with generative AI. This guy, I'm pointing to my screen, the CEO, Jensen, CEO of NVIDIA, hand delivered the first supercomputer that was being used at OpenAI in 2016 to train GPT-3. And so they've continued to an amazing business decision by them. They've been giving so many hardware and software components to Microsoft, Google, all this stuff, because their chips, this is a new chip, this is a new processor they have here that they debuted a week ago. They're making a lot of money right now, and they probably will continue to. And as you can see, in the past 6 months or so, NVIDIA stock has gone up and up, which compared to the market is impressive. And so there
are arguments it might. I think we're getting probably getting a little frothy on the the AI share prices of like, hey, we're gonna use the term AI in our earnings call and just say, hey, we're looking at AI too, and then all of a sudden,
these companies are saying
buy,
this.
buy.
This is the same thing that happened with crypto in the early, Zillow's using blockchain. We gotta invest in this, and so at the same thing, people are saying, oh yeah, our company's using AI 100%, and so there's this rush for all companies to make sure they're not left behind. And in doing this, there has been a bit of frothiness with AI, even in the current market. So it'll probably die down eventually. But
obviously, there will be some major winners. And I think that, for the future of humanity, right? The pyramid scheme that is humanity is starting to slip away, and that we do not have bigger and bigger numbers of a younger generation in order to keep supporting the top of the funnel. And so a lot of increases in human productivity come from there are more workers to feed into the system each successive generation. When you stop having that, how do you increase total human productivity? And I think that, having this new AI technology might be a breakthrough that is able to actually increase human productivity despite less people feeding into the bottom of the funnel in many countries where there are declining birth rates. So it could be a very, very significant, important thing. It's just that we don't know which companies are actually going to leverage it in a way that really takes off. So, just going in and buying up any stock that says we're using AI may or may not work.
I do think this is a bit of a turning point. A lot of companies will be very grandiose in their words, saying that this is our company specifically, of course, is inventing the future of humanity, like this thing I'm about to show. But I do think it's a big turning point. It's kind of what the industrial revolution was to blue collar jobs. This could be the start of a new to white collar jobs, because now you can have just AI doing all these things automatically. And it's just, for example, here, Microsoft, after their very large investment into OpenAI, they integrated some of these large language models with their own proprietary AI, background AI, to integrate into Microsoft Office. Now, Microsoft Office is like the world runs on Excel. Have you heard that before? And so this update, Microsoft Copilot, I don't know what's going to happen with this, because you'll see stories online somewhere of people saying, yeah, I have a 6-figure job. I work from home and I do like nothing because these old people think I need 2 weeks to do a spreadsheet and I know shortcuts and I do it in like 3 hours or something. With this, let's just watch their I watched the entire thing, and they were very fantastical at the beginning. Like, oh, when you were a child, when you wanted to grow up, what did you want to be? what did you want to be? Did you dream we're going to change work forever? And
I wanted to do Excel spreadsheets when I grew up.
Exactly. So they were I was like, okay, calm down and just show me the product. Because they went on for 5 to 7 minutes, just like, Microsoft is God. We're going to change everything. But even without all of their amazing descriptions, I do think this is going to be something very, very big because of how many people use it. I'm going to stop talking and play the video. Does like a sub training on your other documents.
This video not sponsored by Microsoft, by the way.
Yeah. Although they don't need it. Their stock shot up after this. This was big to me. You could just make a PowerPoint by asking. Yep. That a lot. I thought about my college projects with that one. Just like you could just, yep.
I'm very happy that I dropped out so I don't have to feel like I wasted so much of my life generating things AI can now do.
Yeah, I guess I'll forever have the opportunity to say that I did it the manual way, the analog digital way.
I do wonder, like, when it comes to YouTube videos, if we're, how far we are away from because I know there are companies that are trying to do it, but like an AI that plugs into Premiere that tries to analyze waveforms of the audio in order to pick what is an interesting part of the video and then cut out the parts that aren't,
Yeah. I was, funny enough, I was thinking of not doing that, but something similar, like an editing AI, because Descript is a program that can do something similar. It'll look at the waveform, and if there's two people, it'll cut to whoever's talking camera-wise, and it'll do it in a nice way. There's a lot.
There will be a lot of companies that are trying to build on the APIs because not every company is going to be able to actually create the language model. There are going to be companies that try to utilize existing
tens of millions of dollars to do.
But these companies like OpenAI are going to have APIs that you're going to be able to pay to access and try to create a specialized piece of software that targets a particular need of people. Take the Premiere cutting down a video example and tries to create a product around that. And so I think that's going to be the big rush in the next year, 2 years, is all of these startups trying to leverage this in order to create some very specialized piece of software that serves a particular need instead of just the very general application of Chat-GPT or Bing AI, that sort of thing. Yeah.
And with the speed that it's progressing, especially with all this money and resources and interest, frothiness funneled into it. It'll be interesting to see where we are even a few months from now.
Did you just go and ask what is the shape of the Earth?
Oh, that was like half an hour ago, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, when you said that, I figured I'd ask it. And it did give me it's an oblate spheroid, which I am impressed with. I like
it.
That.
It did not entertain the flat Earth.
The Earth is flat. I wonder. I don't want it to, because it's got a history. I don't know. I don't want it to learn from me. But with this, I did want to end off, because we are going over a little bit, but I wanted to end off on something a little more fun. Also, speaking of the history, OpenAI had a little bit of a hack recently. There was a bunch of Chinese searches in the history. This isn't mine. This is just a picture someone searched. So they disabled history for a bit. But it seems to be back now. And so a really good potential avenue for progressing these AIs are linking them with other AIs. And so I found this prompt on the Midjourney subreddit. It is teaching ChatGPT how Midjourney works, how you can tell Midjourney version 5, the newest version, to work. Now, just for this video, I bought GPT Plus and Midjourney Pro.
Okay.
So we can do this little thing. That's why I'm tacking it on to the end, even though it's so late. So a guy wrote out this prompt. I suppose I'll link to it in the description, but it could be outdated next week. So whatever. But wrote this prompt essentially giving examples on how Midjourney works, what prompts make good things. But there were a couple things wrong with it that I saw. So let's just modify it a little bit to change similar fashion. Crucial, write longer prompts for V5. But I did read in some documentation that over 60 words, Midjourney starts to cut it off. So let's add in, but not longer than 60 words, please. And then longer the better. We'll take that. Fine, we'll make it do longer, but make sure not to go over 60 words. Be as detailed as possible. And then there's the rest, type of day, complex vocabulary. So Jordan, about a year and a half ago, I messaged you back in the dark days of AI, and I said, hey, there's this cool new AI stuff going on where you can type in words and it will show you an image of whatever you typed in. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, yeah.
Do you remember what you asked me to show you?
God, I don't. No.
You asked...
Shoot.
What?
Remind me.
You asked for a giant octopus invades New York.
Oh, yeah. Now I remember.
Yeah, on October 16th, 2021. So back then, we just had the little itsy bitsy Dolly Mini. Not related to Dolly 2. They just kind of named it like that. But we had Dolly Mini, which came out with this, an octopus invades New York. So... and so very impressive, amazing stuff, I gotta say. But there has been some improvement.
Yeah.
And so now if we go over to, we're skipping the Dolly era that was eventually became paid for when OpenAI went closed. And so Midjourney now has updated to version 5, which has a lot more realism. And so I've been DMing the Midjourney bot, and there's a spoiler up here. I've been testing it before. Okay. And so if we just ask it to, with your same prompt that I gave for this.
Where does Chat-GPT come into play on this?
We're going to teach Chat-GPT how to make an octopus invading New York prompt. And that's all of this. This is us teaching it. And so a base one, while we do that, we'll just do imagine what was the exact, an octopus invades New York. That was the exact wording I believe I used for the original one. Right. So we'll see how that goes. Now, we can watch it generate. And it's waiting. Okay. So we'll do it later. ChatGPT, your task is to use all the information above and create a V5 prompt that shows an octopus invading New York. An octopus invading New York. This should be generating. This is, I did a high quality, so it's taken a little longer than normal. But it's slowly putting together from the static that it's trained on an octopus invading New York. And so I did test this before, this ChatGPT thing. So it gave me a bit of a stylized one. So I will add, just so we can have a similar result, a photorealistic. An octopus invading New York in a photorealistic style. York isn't a word in Chrome? That's interesting.
It's just
anyway.
not capitalized.
Oh, yeah, fair. Let's do it just to be nice. Okay. Free prompt that shows... And please create a V5 prompt that shows an octopus invading New York in a photorealistic style. So, do that. It's got all this stuff. And now this is ChatGPT. This is GPT-4, which only paid users get access to, which is why I paid for it this month. But it is a bit slower, as you can see, than ChatGPT 3, but it's better. And so it's creating this very poetic.
Wow, captured with a specific camera.
Oh, yeah. I am impressed that it knows how to do that. So a photorealistic scene of a colossal octopus invading New York City. I think that's important because here it could be just some generic picture of New York.
Right, it could be one of the boroughs. Or, other place in the state. True.
Yeah, tentacles entwining skyscrapers with a dramatic sunset backdrop casting warm golden light on the cityscape. The octopus has an intricate, realistic skin textures and its eyes reflecting the chaos below. It's very poetic, this thing.
Oh my God.
Captured with a Nikon D850, a wide-angle perspective, as if taken by a helicopter hovering at a safe distance. That's funny.
Wow. It's got to be safe.
Yeah, make sure there's no one in danger here. Showcasing the enormity of the event. Emphasize the surrealism and contrast between nature and urban environment. Wow.
Okay. Wow, I can't even see the difference.
How many words is that? How many word is that? 52 words.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Let's make sure it's not lying to me.
Oh, does it sometimes get it wrong? Dang, how could it get it? How could it? What?
Yeah, 74 words.
What is this? You
like
lied.
I said, it's very confident, but it's very tricky.
We've just proven everything in one fell swoop.
Exactly. Oh my God. I used to use this. College graduate, it is. Also, I used to use this website when I was on Canvas and had to write those discussion prompts like, "Hi, Emily, I agree with what you said about the system of whatever." So this is funny. I haven't used this website in a while. But okay, let's ask it. I believe.
My name's not Sydney.
I believe that was 74 words. Can you shorten it to 60 words? My apologies. Apologies for the discrepancy. Here's a revised version with 60 words. Photorealist. Okay. Colossal octopus invading New York City, tentacles and taunting side of the center. Realistic syntax. I captured with Nikon D80. While I wonder if it gets rid of the from helicopter. It got rid of the safe distance from helicopter distance, showcasing the events and for the surrealism kind of nature, the intensity of the moment. Okay,
it is one line shorter. So
it is.
Let's see.
How many words was that? 52 words.
Okay.
41 words. Okay, I think it was
writing. Hey, writing
words.
is its strong suit, not math.
Yeah. I think it was 52 words, but but still under 60 words. So thanks. Thank you. Okay, you're correct. Okay,
you're correct.
You're correct. Was 50? I hope so. Thank you for not gaslighting me. I guess I should at least give you the courtesy. Okay, so good. We can use this 52 word prompt in Midjourney, but let's see what our just few word prompt gave us. Okay, an octopus invades New York. So this is the new version. 2021 versus 2023. Well, 2023 versus 2021. Wow.
It's a bit of an improvement.
It is. And it's been a year and a half. So what could happen in the next decade?
We're going to look in another year and be like, God, those
I can't believe
2023 photos are terrible. All right, let's see the super prompt.
Okay. Oh,
Do your commands.
Imagine that. Let's see what it does. Photorealistic scene, octopus invading New York City. So that's fun. Also, on the subject of ChatGPT, just while this loads, ChatGPT not being good at math, they have just added a beta for plugins for ChatGPT. So it can now reference Wolfram Alpha. It can rudimentarily, search the web.
It can do rudimentary web searches.
Yes, thank you very much. ChatGPT could have phrased that better for me, but you're better than ChatGPT because you're live. And so it can do a whole number of things with these plugins now. And so that's very impressive. It's advancing so fast. And so it seems we now have a bit more of a King Kong approach going on to it. Which
this
I
is
like.
more of an invasion. The other one is kind of just like, oh, that's a big octopus. This is like, oh my God, we're all gonna die.
Yeah. This is like octopus. And by the way, the one I put before, I put photorealistic in GPT's prompt because from before this was it had a bit of a Salvador Dali to it, which makes sense because it says Salvador Dali somewhere in here. But anyway, this seems more realistic. And here we go. So, it kind of seems like it's
Kind of a little better.
Yeah, it's interestingly, it looks like it's on. It didn't get the shadows fantastic on this one. It looks like it's on a giant mat with New York City printed on it.
The trying to like do it from a particular camera though is very interesting. I would love to be able to, and another day, maybe offline, just, compare that versus actual shots, taken on the camera that it references and see, like, can you actually tell a particular style from that or something like that? But anyway, that's a lot of progress that's happened in the last year and a half.
Yeah, that is amazing. Who knows where we'll be next year or next month, tomorrow.
You'll just be able to type a Marvel graphics artists. They're just gonna type a little thing into a prompt and it's gonna be like, oh, that's the scene, we're done.
Instead of they don't even need the green screen anymore, they can just do that.
Photorealistic sequence of Iron Man fighting Thanos where they're both getting beat up, and then it's well, no, you can't, you're just not gonna do a video on there. But there will be generative video probably. So, oh man, there's going to be some crazy YouTube content that's able to be made. Yeah,
they've just started to do that. If we go to Gen 1 AI, Gen 2, oh my God, they just released this, I guess. Runway explainer. No, just show me okay, so look, they're already starting to do it.
Yeah.
Aerial drone footage of a mountain range, the late afternoon city of a New York City loft. So it's already begun to do videos. And considering Dolly Mini looked similar to how Gen 1 did when it started, which Gen 1 wasn't that long ago. They're just advancing really fast. If the video AI progresses at the same speed as the image AI in a year or two, it could be really crazy stuff happening.
Yeah.
With that.
Well, I think for now, we got to cap it somewhere.
We do. Oh, this has gone way too long. We could, if we had some foresight, we should have started this podcast about AI. That could go on forever. Topical.
We'll probably have to revisit the topic at some point in the future. A yearly installment or something like that. But yeah.
Also,
there we go.
Kind of funny. Iron Man fighting Josh Brolin, the actor who plays Thanos.
And Iron Man versus Iron Man. Very interesting.
Versus Iron Man. Yeah. Huh.
Well, I guess.
Anyway,
let's
get out of here. Yeah. Wow. See what? Anything we should close it out on specifically?
No, I I appreciated the demo on the updating the octopus invading New York. So
Yeah, it's great to see the. This is so funny to look at now, just like with the swirls.
Yeah, the set of octopuses invading New York in that one. Now they focused it on one. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and hopefully you enjoyed. And stay tuned for how AI is going to change your life.
Yeah, and honestly, I've got another month with this Midjourney thing, so comment a prompt and I'll just send it to you. I don't know.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.